If you haven't heard about all the hype surrounding Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin, you haven't just been living under a rock. You've been living under a boulder a mile deep into the Grand Canyon. What's up, everybody? Leonardo 2003 here, repping my Miami Dolphins, 8-4, playoff bound. Let's go. And today's video is going to be all about The Last Ronin. And before I go any further, spoiler warning. So now, with everyone having enough time to process everything thrown at us in issue 1 and issue 2 releasing next month, it's time to break this comic series down and speculate. However, first we've got some really cool previews for issue 2 and some previews for the rest of the series that I want to share with you guys. First off, let's go over all of the previews we've gotten for issue 2, titled First to Fall. Going off of the title, the cover, and some of these previews, it's pretty clear that this issue will be giving us the backstory of the first turtle who dies, Raphael. These previews are all from the Twitter page of one of the comic's co-writers, Tom Waltz. First, here are some shots of Raph in action. In both scenarios here, it looks like he's in some trouble. In the first shot, it looks like he's running away from an attacker, but the guy in the background could be an ally. Although it's black and white, you can see he's already bloody and bruised. In the other image, it looks like he's been ambushed at home in the evening time. Next, we've got a shot of Mikey, the last Ronin, getting heated. This is probably shortly after where we left off in issue 1, and he's furious and tormented over what just happened. And here's another shot, presumably the next page, of him toasting with his fallen brothers. Also, issue 1 has a 50,000 copy second printing hitting stores by the time that this video is uploaded, which is the largest second printing in IDW's history. So if you still haven't gotten this comic yet, it'll be much easier and cheaper to get this second printing. Here's a shot at April shedding a tear. We don't know what she's been up to in the last decade, and it's shown that this might be her and Mikey's first time seeing each other in a long time at the end of issue 1. Of course, she will be getting emotional in issue 2, now that the memories of the turtles will be on the forefront of her mind. Here's the first shot that Tom posted of Karai, and then here's the fully covered version of that picture. Obviously, Karai looks as badass as ever. That maroonish red that she's wearing is just so Foot Clan, and she really does look perfect. Presumably, this is her in the past, maybe even a decade ago from current times in the comic. We know that she's in some type of life support capsule in Iroko Hiroto's tower, and somehow she looks even younger in the capsule than in the preview. Could she have played a role in the turtles' deaths? Most likely, yes she did, especially Raphael's. Here's a shot of one of Raph's thighs, dripping blood, and it looks like it's sinking through water. This shot could be immediately after his death.
I also believe that this was the initial placeholder cover for issue 2.
Now, here's the official cover for issue 2, and damn. Raph is in the middle of a rough Foot Clan brawl with shurikens through his damn shoulders. Can I just say how yoked these turtles are in The Last Ronin? Even Mikey looks like frickin' Brock Lesnar. Issue 2 will be out January 27th, 2021, and I pre-ordered my issue 2 online from Maz Comics. The prices are great and their exclusive variant cover is awesome. Pretty sure they're not sold out yet, so check it out. Here's the official cover for issue 3, titled Fight or Flight. Now that's obviously Casey Jones's mask, but I don't think that that's Leo's katana like some have speculated. It's got a red wrap around the handle, and that's the exact same color as the wrap the Foot Ninja use on their katana. However, it's very possible that he and Leo both perish in this issue, as it will probably tell the death story of either Leo or Donnie. If I had to guess, Casey and maybe a turtle is dead beneath that collapsed building. Issue 3 is still scheduled to release on March 3rd. However, since the first 2 issues were delayed, we should expect a delay with issue 3. Tom also told us that issue 4 will be titled Blood in Snow, and 5, the finale, will be called The Last Ronin. I'm guessing it will be mostly backstory in issues 2, 3, and 4, and the epic showdown between Mikey and Hiroto, and whoever the other main villains are in issue 5. Now, here's a cool interview with Tom Waltz from But Why Though? That gives some cool background on the story of The Last Ronin. Pause the video to read the exact quotes, but he's basically talking about the origins of the story and how it recently got brought back into the picture. It was a Laird and Eastman idea all the way back in 1987 that they never got past the concept idea with. Eastman was searching for a new avenue to take the Turtles after so many issues of the ongoing IDW series, so he dug deep in his archives and presented this old concept to Waltz. Also, he confirmed that Eastman pretty much wanted the last Ronin to be Mikey from the start. Also, in a separate interview from Previews World, Waltz confirmed something that many fans were confused about. Some fans thought that Peter Laird was currently working on the writing of the last Ronin story, but unfortunately he is not. He is credited on each cover simply for his part in brainstorming the concept back in the 80s. Laird isn't very active online and doesn't give many interviews, but I'm very eager to hear him talk about this comic when he's ready. Finally, here's an awesome article from Newsarama that breaks down all of the TMNT comic releases with confirmed release dates, all the way up until August of 2021, so check them out. And then finally, here's the most recent interview that Tom Waltz has done, again to Newsarama, and it has some really cool tidbits in it. In regards to the initial script, Waltz originally had it written a lot more R-rated, with lots of swear words that were ultimately cut. And it was Kevin who ultimately brought him back in and told him it didn't need to be such R-rated content. In regards to the main villain, Hiroto, he says that a lot of layers are going to be unpeeled and unveiled as the series goes on, including his dark history with the Hamato clan, as well as his interesting relationship with his unconscious mom, Karai. In regards to the citizens of New York knowing who the Turtles are, he says without giving too much away, most folks in New York City either don't remember the mutants or think of them as myths or legends. One person in particular will be ecstatic to find out that the opposite is true, and that person isn't April O'Neil. But you'll have to keep reading to find out who that is. Now, is that the Jones character, or is that someone that we haven't seen yet? And finally, in regards to what April O'Neil has been up to since Hiroto took over New York City, he says, well, I'll tell you what she wasn't doing. She wasn't just sitting around and pouting about Hiroto's despotic reign over New York City. No, she's been very busy. Despite great odds against her, and despite great past tragedies she's had to overcome, all will be revealed starting with issue number 2. Definitely check out these articles I mentioned and read all the quotes from Tom Waltz because this stuff is just so interesting. I mean, this comic has swept the nation, hundreds of thousands of copies, and I mean, just hearing about its inception and the beginnings of it, the backstory and everything, it's all just so cool. Alright, so this is me editing right now. I just checked Tom Waltz's Twitter and he posted one more badass preview for issue 2, so check it out. You see he's making a little joke here about is that a Real Housewives meme? But check out this badass photo between Karai and Raphael, presumably right before they start to square off and I guess fight to the death. So, I mean, I can't wait to see this one in color because damn, just look how badass Raph looks. Wow. Now, let's get into the meat and potatoes here. Issue 1 of The Last Ronin threw so much at us, but we're left with so many questions, like how did each turtle die? What's up with Karai? Who's Hiroko Hiroto's father? What's the deal with this Jones girl? What's April been up to? And how is Michelangelo still alive? And what has he been doing for the last decade? Well, first, I kinda want to quickly summarize issue 1, since I haven't really talked about it properly. First off, The Last Ronin was kinda given away right off the bat, if you picked up on the orange text boxes while he was speaking. It starts with Mikey making his way towards downtown New York, having conversations in his head with his fallen brothers. New York is in pretty rough shape, and it's being ran by a dictatorship led by the Shredder's grandson and Karai's son, Hiroko Hiroto. Mikey makes his way downtown, steals a motorcycle from a girl named Jones, and uses it to infiltrate the Foot stronghold. He begins making his way through the tower, taking out the robotic and synthetic foot soldiers. He is then met by elite ninja robots and finally with Stockman Tech Mousers, the largest Mouser forcing him out of the tower and falling to the concrete, a near-death fall. Mikey retreats to the sewers, and the Jones girl points the Foot police in a different direction. She finds Mikey in the sewers, passed out from loss of blood. Good thing he passed out, as his life was flashing before his eyes and he was about to kill himself with one of Leo's broken katana. He wakes up in a medical room being attended to by none other than April O'Neil. So that was pretty much the quickest way I could summarize the story. This could be Mikey's first time seeing April in a decade, as he's very surprised to see her. However, he may just be shocked, as he was just having a heaven-like dream being with his brothers moments before waking up to her. April, on the other hand, isn't as surprised to see Mikey. I can't wait to see what role she plays in this story. The Jones character should be pivotal in the current day of this story. She already kinda saved Mikey from being found by the robots. She already saved Mikey's life twice by pointing the Foot police in the wrong direction and then finding him near death in the sewers and presumably bringing him to April to save his life. Most fans have narrowed her down to either being Casey Jones' daughter or little sister. By her reaction to seeing Mikey in the sewers, she may not have ever met the Turtles before and only heard stories about them from Casey or something. She's a badass in her own right, hanging out in a biker bar with a bunch of dudes. Baxter Stockman will somehow be involved with this story, as the Foot are currently using his Mousers and technology. Most likely, either Stockman is working closely with the Foot, or Hiroto is forcing Stockman to work for him against his will, similar to past incarnations. His tech may also be being used for the Foot Ninja as well. The common Foot soldiers are not actually human, but synthetic. Is Stockman fusing human DNA with technology to create mind-washed ninjas for the Foot? Maybe, who knows. In the interview I had on screen earlier, Waltz described the second main antagonist to go perfect with the futuristic aspect of this comic. Could he have been talking about Stockman? The Foot Clan backstory is what a lot of fans are craving right now. Will we see the Shredder in the flashbacks? Will we see Splinter in the flashbacks? Who knows? I think we'll see Splinter in the flashbacks. I mean, his death, if it's shown, is definitely going to be the hardest to watch. But the Shredder, on the other hand, we may not see too many flashbacks of him, as he's a few generations removed. But we will see Karai, Hiroto's mother. Karai and Hiroto both played parts in the Turtles' deaths. In current day, Karai seems to be in a bad state, as she's being kept in a life support capsule by Hiroto. How did Hiroto rise to this great power and take over New York? And where has Mikey been over the last decade? Hiroto stated that he thought all 4 of the Turtles died over a decade ago. Did Mikey actually already die and somehow come back to life? I mean, if he could mutate into a turtle, anything's possible. And where has he been for the last 10 years? And what led to him deciding to go balls to the wall and sacrifice his own life to take down Hiroto now? All things that we'll be finding out in due time. So what's your favorite part of The Last Ronin so far, and what are you most pumped up to see? I think I'm more amped up for issue 2 more than I was for issue 1, and that's saying something. We are in for some very dark and violent scenes in these upcoming comics. I mean, probably the darkest TMNT has gotten in its entire 36-year history. And seeing the Turtles die, seeing Casey die, and if we see Splinter die, I mean, damn. I mean, that's just going to tear all of our hearts out. This is going to be crazy. I mean, we have seen Splinter die before, most recently the 2012 series, of course. And we haven't even met him yet. We probably won't see much of him, so we won't be too attached to him, but still, it's Splinter. Definitely comment down below, what are you expecting or speculating some of the big reveals to be in these upcoming issues? I've got some Rise of the TMNT videos that I'm planning, but I kind of want to wait until the Netflix movie releases. So I have the full Rise of the TMNT story to work with and all the villains and everything, all the character development. So I think I'm going to wait until after that Netflix movie releases until I do some proper Rise of the TMNT videos. With that being said, my next video is probably going to be a top 10 episodes list for Season 6, fast forward, of the 2003 series. So if you're part of the very small minority that actually enjoyed that season, you're in luck. I want to make a video breaking down these Dreamwave comics from 2003 based on the 2003 series. There was only like 7 issues, but I've got all of them, so I think it'd make for a cool video since they're pretty unheard of at this point. But anyways, until next time guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe out there, and peace out.